And we're live. It's Whiskey Watches the Wheels with a special guest, Kevin. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Hello. I'm doing good.
Kevin decided to grace us with his presence tonight, and I'm so happy to have him.
I was on a sabbatical.
He was on a sabbatical, if you call it that. Cool. Well, guys, how's everyone doing tonight?
Oh, great.
Yeah. George, how's the auction going, buddy?
It's going. We got it's ending at little after 2 on Friday afternoon.
Okay.
I forget the exact time, but 2-something p.m. Friday afternoon. So it's coming along. I was maybe hoping for a little bit more engagement in the comments section, but I guess, right? I mean, I also did a lot of due diligence to have a really complete listing up front so that, right, the simple questions were already addressed. So
yeah, I mean, 9 comments so far is not terrible because I've seen some with worse. But I also I don't know, obviously, I don't know what you're asking, and obviously you don't need to reveal that. But, I mean, it's not sitting at the base. So
No, it's creeping up. And what I
think
like,
that's good that somebody's not doing that because
right.
We've all talked about this. Do you have it on Burner Trailer? Is that what you have it on?
It's on Carson Bids.
Okay, so you get a lot of people that I think their job is just to never bid, never won, and I used to have one of those, and they point out problems of a car that no one's even asked, and they're not even buying a car. I've sold a couple of things on there, and it's like, are you even buying the fucking car? Then shut up. Like, not that you're trying to hide anything, but it's like, what's the mil thickness of the paint? And it's like, does anybody even just stop? So, yeah. And I see, it's like the same people over and over. They use it as a forum, I think, like a Reddit post. And it's like, and you click on the thing, and it's like, all these comments. So I think that's great that you only have 9, and it speaks to your posting that they did a good job, or you are upfront with everything, and they don't have to ask questions.
It's the modern day tire kicker is the random poster.
Yeah, I try to be like really responsive and quick too. So as soon as I see a comment or question, right, I try to respond very quickly. Yeah. And so I might have revealed
here's one that you haven't responded yet.
Than ideal, but I'm trying to be transparent. Sorry, Casey, go ahead.
There is one that has been posted on here talking about what's the lifetime MPGs that you've got on the car. What a stupid ass question, in my opinion. It's a fucking sports sedan with a tune. Like, it's not going to be great. I mean, the better question is, what do you get going down the highway? Which I'll tell you in mine today, I got about 28 MPG. Figure that one out.
Pretty good.
That's easy.
Since it's the same engine. So.
I get 32 all day.
Do you really?
Yep.
All right, I need a tune, obviously.
Wait, do you have a diesel?
This is the RS5. I'm not talking about the
RS5, yeah.
Oh,
it's got the same motor as Casey's new Panamera.
The Cayenne, I get low 40s.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the encouraging thing was that there's like 477 people watching, so you may have a lot of action in the last very bit.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Hope. I tried to also like kind of invite and encourage, right, in-person visits or PPI, right, for anyone serious, but I haven't had any direct communication, so that was interesting. I was hoping for some.
What are y'all drinking tonight? Yeah, look at Kevin. What are y'all drinking? I'm drinking a delicious Monster. So
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So I have some 1792 Full Proof. It is single barrel select. So I mean, yeah, you can take that as it is, right? Selected by someone, right? It says hand selected by ABC, Discount Wine and Spirits. So I actually don't know where
it's a barrel pick.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's good.
I think those foolproof bottles are really good.
What's the ABV on that?
It is 125 proof. Yep.
So what's considered hazmat? Is it 130 or 130? I think it's 130, isn't it?
Well, probably one. Well,
I think it's 130.
Officially hazmat. I was going to say 140, but
I don't seek it out.
Okay, so what do y'all mean? Right? What do y'all mean by hazmat? Because when I think hazmat, I think of hazmat with
So it's basically the barrel proofs, but for like the really long, like the aged stuff, right? So that combination is how you get the higher proof.
No, generally less aged. because as it ages, the alcohol evaporates out, right? Because it's lighter than water, right? Am I
Water
saying this wrong?
evaporates out.
The water
Water-
evaporates.
You're
That's how
right.
over time the
Yes.
proof increases.
I'm sorry. I'm half retarded.
In case you're drunk.
But the hazmat's generally considered 140 proof and up.
Oh, 140. Okay. I
Wow.
was drinking some 135 today, and I was like, oh, I think this is hazmat. I mean, my taste buds are pretty much.
But
Close enough.
depending on
Yours.
how old it is, if it's like a 4-year-old hazmat, like that stuff will burn your mouth apart sometimes. And then you can get something that's aged a little bit more that has chilled out, get more flavors in it, and it doesn't drink like it's proof.
I can't even imagine it. I can't.
You
So,
can if you got used to it, like the rest of us.
It's definitely an acquired taste, right?
I don't know that I want it.
And then as you acquire and then you learn the differences, you start to, learn your preferences, right?
Mhm.
And appreciate certain differences. And you kind of find your way. I mean, I didn't like any ryes when I first started, right? And now I appreciate good ryes.
Makes sense.
So I went to a dinner. I think I talked about it last week. The
Mhm.
Willet sponsored dinner. And they said that we were supposed to be getting some more of their stuff, which I'm sure is why they were putting on this dinner. And Ashley and I happened to go into a liquor store on Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember which, probably Sunday for the Super Bowl. And lo and behold, we have our version of the Willets here in Virginia now. This is a green top. So this is a 4-year rye. It is a 113. And it's amazing. It's fabulous. Super excited that this will now be in Virginia. Hopefully people, lay off of it and I can find it again. But it has some of that spearmint wintergreen kick that I'm always looking for in rye. This bottle has it. It's fantastic by itself, and I've made an old fashioned with it, and I love that flavor in old fashioned. So I'm super excited about this one.
It's awesome.
Oh, and it's got some. I don't know if you'll be able to, some sediment coming through. I can't see it on the camera, but that's awesome too.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is that a good thing?
I like it because these bottles are only lightly filtered. He said at the dinner that some of them may even go through occasionally without being filtered. Most of them are just charcoal filtered to catch sediment. But I didn't even look at this one prior, and this has got a fair amount of sediment in it. That's really fun. I like that.
You look forward
Kevin?
to chewing on that last drink.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So as you guys know, I open up a barrel.
A whole barrel. Interesting,
He
Kevin.
just tapped it with a straw.
Big.
Well, I know why I said that. So I open up a bottle and I typically finish that bottle and then I move on. So this is short barrel cigar batch. They're what is it? I think it's they're distilled in Kentucky and Indiana. So it's a blend. I love this one. It's pretty smooth, and my wife actually likes it too because she doesn't really like bourbons, but it's finished in Armagnac, cognac, rum, and tawny port cask. It's got a unique flavor to it. It's 114 proof, so it's pretty good. So, have you guys had any of this short barrel stuff? I think they're really popular here. They're popular in Georgia.
Because
If you
short barrel is actually out of Atlanta, even though they're
that's okay. That's why it's so popular here.
Yeah.
Now this stuff, this is like allocated stuff here in Florida and in Georgia.
cool.
They have a lot of like you walk in and you're like, okay, yeah, you got to buy 15 of this to get one, short barrel, whatever it is. So, and they do barrel picks. A lot of guys do some barrel picks, but they are a blend, right? Because it's I think it's MGB.
MGP.
Yeah, MGP. There you go. So they blend it, and I think they take it, put it in the barrels, and put it in. But it's pretty good stuff. I would highly suggest. I don't like the shitty cork, but I would.
You got 2 bottles of that, didn't you?
I did. How did you remember that?
Because I remember everything, dude.
Man, you got a good memory.
I remember it all. Especially
Yes.
because of my friends, man. I remember everything.
Kevin has like a halo right now above his head as he pours that bourbon.
There you go. Tap in the bottle. That's it. Done.
So I'll finish this.
Yeah, that's a pour.
Can't wait.
this is literally what my pours have been for the past 3 weeks since I haven't done a podcast at nighttime. It's been this. So luckily, you guys don't get any shit talking from me.
Yet.
There you go.
No, like when I'm sitting at home drinking this stuff. So
Poor
Just
Aaron.
FaceTime me, and I'll pour and
Yeah.
hang with you next time.
Aaron's probably
okay.
like, go back on the podcast. Get the fuck out of here.
no, she's actually drinking. She's been drinking that rye, that midsummer dram. Something like,
Midsummer Stream. Yeah.
This is the third bottle I've gone through that, and she likes the Peerless rye too.
Nice.
So yeah, she's been pouring it back. So we haven't been drinking going out, and we've been saving a lot of money. And
That'll do.
Mhm.
I didn't start drinking until my daughter was probably 14, maybe 16. Like I just go to a restaurant, drink Diet Coke, and then I don't know, I got older, started making more money, start drinking. I always drink Jack and Diet, and for you guys know that's kind of my jam. But lately we just, hey, you know what? We'll drink at home because I got all this bourbon, and shit, my bill's been like $39.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I mean, usually you guys have been out with us. It's not one drink; it's 1, 2, sometimes
Right.
3 times 2. Because my wife's doing it too. I mean, shit, you'll have a $60-$70 alcohol drink or bill on top of your food. So yeah, we've been it's been nice.
Maybe that's my
So-
problem. I have the age. I don't have the wallet. I'm fucking broke. So I can't afford to start drinking. Although we did book a cruise, Stacey and I, in like 4 weeks. We'll be on a boat going to Jamaica and Grand Cayman. So maybe I'll
Is
grab
it a
something.
Disney cruise?
It is not a Disney cruise. You know, the funny thing is, so we have some, or I should say, we have some acquaintances or friends that we met on a cruise years ago when the kids were little, and they come to Florida. They're big Disney people, but they live in Louisville, Kentucky.
It's Louisville. Thanks.
Louisville. All right, Louisville. Whatever. Listen, I'm from Florida, man. It's Louisville, whatever. So they come down and they're going on a Disney cruise and for the same week. And Stacy goes, maybe we should go on the ship they're on. I'm like, fuck no, I am not going on a Disney cruise. Get out of here. So we've always still Carnival in the past, but this time we're doing Royal Caribbean.
Do you
I don't know.
see the article now where it's cheaper to go to Disneyland Tokyo than it is to go to a week in Orlando?
I don't believe it. I mean, I believe it. It's insane. The prices here are absolutely ridiculous. Prices everywhere are ridiculous now. Like I thought about, like, I don't mind cruising. I'm not a guy that likes the sea days. The sea days drive me crazy because I have to be on the go doing shit all the time. I have ADHD. I just can't sit. I'm not the guy that's going to lounge by the pool for the day. And so cruises typically, like if it's like 2 or 3 sea days, I'm kind of miserable on those days. This boat's bigger, got more stuff to do. But I told Stacey, I said, let's just look at maybe going to like an all-inclusive in Mexico or whatever, or just fly somewhere and stay. Fuck. It was cheaper to go on the cruise than it was to do all that. By the time you bought the airline tickets, and it was cheaper to go on the cruise. So,
Well, absolutely. I mean, cruises are fairly cheap anyway most of the time, but you're in one of the hubs, or you could drive.
Yeah, I mean,
one of the hubs,
we're
so.
literally like Saturday. We leave Saturday, March 14th, and we have to be at the port at 1 o'clock. And I'm like, all right, well, we leave the house at noon. I mean, I'm 28 minutes from the port, so
Yeah.
it's right here. So yeah, but maybe I'll drink something blue and fruity on the boat.
There you go.
Banana.
You just
So
do
Kevin-
the hot body swimsuit in the pool. What are you
Yeah,
doing?
baby,
You doing
you know.
Carnival? You doing which one? Are you
No,
doing?
we're gonna do Royal Caribbean this time around.
Okay.
We've always
Okay.
done Carnival since the kids were little, only because we were broke and all
Yeah.
that. So we're doing Royal Caribbean this time. So we'll see. Try to class it up a little bit. I wanted to do Virgin, but they didn't have any coming out of Port Canaveral.
I think
So.
Carnival would do good for you.
What watches are y'all wearing tonight?
Kevin,
Oh yes, I am wearing
Kevin's asleep.
but I'm wearing a John Player's Seiko 1976. So I guess this would be my birth year watch. By the way, I'm going to be 50 this year.
fucking
Knocking on
old.
heaven's door. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know what the model number is on it. I'm not like James. I don't know them like by heart. But this is really clean. I do have the original band. I did put a NATO band on there because I didn't want to mess up the my band that I have on. So
That's cool.
yeah, it's pretty. It's a cool. Definitely a. Let's see if I can. Oh, you know what? I haven't been in this game for a while, man. I forgot. I got Zoom things I can do. Let's see here with my camera. I forgot
These
all
are
about
rusty.
this stuff. Yes.
Still
There you
completely
go.
dark. Oh, there
There
you
you
Still
go.
dark. There you go. So that's what I'm wearing today.
There's some cool
What
like
about you guys?
race car liveries, right, from the John Player days.
Yes.
Days
Yes.
that I've like.
And
Sure.
there's a great blog on our website about that watch that Kevin wrote.
I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
I didn't know there were blogs on the
there is
Yeah.
website.
blogs on the
Man.
website.
We tried. There were some that didn't participate, so it kind of fell to the wayside. Tonight I'm wearing my Willard again because it's a Willard and it's me, and I wear it for 2 weeks in a row, and so we're in week 2. So there you go.
Cool.
Wearing one of the watches I mentioned on last podcast where we covered some good watches under 500K. So I mentioned the Citizen Eco Drive.
500.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, right, is kind of like a medium to dark navy blue with kind of two-tone with the black, but this is titanium. So
And
this is super light.
Would you say that falls under $500,000?
Well, I bought it probably 12 or 13 years ago, so it definitely was back then. I don't know what the comparable would be now, but I mean, super light, right? I mean,
Yeah.
And it
Nothing
has
wrong
that,
with
that
Citizen.
kind of darker tone, right? Metal,
Yeah,
you see?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's unique. But yeah, I mean, to me, it fell under that range. I didn't think about what it is today or look up a comparable, but
Yeah, it's fine. And I'm wearing a watch that I actually bought from Kevin, the Snoopy Omega Swatch watch.
where's the Snoopy?
And
Which one?
it is up in the. I don't know if you can see it. It's up in the little wheel at the top. It spins around in the upper right dial. So yeah, good times. Well, we were talking about whiskey, and Casey threw this up in the group chat.
What I did.
And I don't know really a lot about as far as this company, but Casey threw up an article that is it pronounced Gallo bought Four Roses. Four Roses I've heard of from, I guess, Kieran was the company that owned Four Roses. So what does that mean for the whiskey world?
I don't know what it's ultimately going to mean for the whiskey world in general. As you know, a lot of these companies are, bought and sold. Gallo, it is a new market for Gallo to enter. Gallo is a California, based vineyard. They've got several brands under their belt, but I think this is the first one into the spirits industry. So quite the purchase at 700. Was it 700 or $770 million?
Mm-hmm.
The reason really that I find it so interesting is I think it says two things. One being that Four Roses just a couple years ago bought Wilderness Trail, which was really kind of a micro startup brand that was getting popular, I would say, although I haven't seen as much of it over the last year or two. But that was a product that was very similar to me in what I saw kind of in my liquor stores as like Smoke Wagon, but bought them for $600 million. So here we are a couple years later, and Kieran sells the total Four Roses brand, Four Roses, and the acquisition of Wilderness Trail for $700 or $770 million. So I know you can't always just look at those two evaluations and say, oh well, you bought Four Roses for $100 million. I know it doesn't work out like that, but you're kind of saying that Four Roses evaluated itself in comparison to Wilderness Trail, at a much lower evaluation. So what it also says about the industry in general to me is that prices are, or there are price constraints on these companies. Sales are slowing. I haven't mentioned it, but the big lawsuit with Uncle Nearest and that whole catastrophe, they have thousands, tens of thousands of barrels, hundreds of thousands. I think it's 326,000 some barrels of inventory that they were trying to liquidate, and they were they had them on their books for something like $13,000 a barrel. And when they tried to get a buyer for those barrels to solve some of their debt issues, the bids were only up to a maximum of $400 a barrel. So if
wow.
you could see that discrepancy, and you kind of can get a sense of what the overall market is feeling, and kind of where the bourbon industry is kind of right now.
That's interesting.
So there you go. But it sounds like you all didn't have a lot to say on that. But
Well, I'm not the bourbon guy, so I mean,
Four Roses is going to stick around. They're going to have probably a little bit more marketing come into things. Four Roses does not, in my opinion, do a good job of marketing. I don't feel that they're pushed as much as their taste, to me, should be pushed. Kevin and I was just there last summer. That those two bottles that we got are some of my favorite bottles I've ever tasted. Like they're really, really good stuff. They're priced reasonably well. You can always find like their single barrels on the shelf, at least around here, and they're fabulous. And they, Four Roses kind of thing is that they have the different yeast strains, and you can interpret their what is it, like VSOB and V whatever. You can interpret those and see what yeast strains they put in there. They're distinct. They're interesting. They're the only ones that have those multiple yeast strains, and their distillery is beautiful. It's historical, meaning it was one of the first in Kentucky. And they went with this like Spanish style distillery, which is really weird to kind of be driving through the hills of Kentucky and then come up on this like Spanish oasis. But it's beautiful. It's wonderful. I think their bourbon's great. And I hope that this purchase allows the brand to grow more, because I think it deserves it, because I think it's really good stuff.
Well, I mean, I will say this from a guy that knows nothing about bourbon. I did know the name Four Rivers. Now, maybe I knew it. Four Roses. Maybe I knew it because of you guys and your tour there and all that. That's a possibility. Maybe that's why it jogged my memory. But anytime someone makes a decent product, but a larger entity buys it and can put money into marketing, that's only going to be a benefit to all of them. So it's just business.
I kind of wondered, right? Is this like, we've talked about the industry, right? Like struggling a little bit, but I wonder, like, it also boomed, right? And there were so many new players. So will we see, as part of those maybe challenges, right, of the industry, even when it's an industry that's very healthy and still growing, you still see consolidation, right, of brands and companies. So I was wondering how much more consolidation will we see, or will we just see some surviving and some not, right? I'm curious to see where it'll go.
I agree with you 100%. I do think that we will see some consolidation. Obviously, the Four Roses was not a consolidation. Kirin is like exiting the whiskey bourbon segment. I think that Four Roses was their only one in the segment at the time, so they're kind of stepping away. But I do think that we're going to see some consolidation. We've already seen, and we've talked about a couple of smaller distilleries that have gone out of business, most of which we haven't heard of or tried. But I do think you're going to continue to see some of this consolidation in these the ones who jumped in 21, as COVID was going away, people were starting to go out, and the market was just to the moon, right? And people were so excited to get out. These micro brands spent millions and millions of dollars to put in tasting rooms that look fabulous. But once the demand kind of normalizes, supply from all these companies started to normalize, where they were so restricted during COVID. While I think the business overall is there probably to support it, who wants to drive out of the way to go taste a micro brand that they never heard of at the volume that is required to keep these multi-tens of $1 million tasting rooms?
So do you think these smaller micro brands will sell their barrels and then the bigger companies will label those as limited runs, or do you think they will take on the micro brand and continue that brand?
Kevin, we can play that, game theory that out. What micro brands do you think have enough name recognition that a bigger player would want to keep?
It depends on the region. Like, so for instance, I think, everything's in Kentucky, usually for the most part, but like you have a lot of Texas bourbons, like that. What's that one? Garrett Brothers, or you have even Short Barrel. So you have a lot of these. I think a lot of these people that have these Indiana stuff coming in and making, they may have, I don't know how many barrels Short Barrel does, but I think those guys, because I'm starting to see here in Florida, E.H. Taylor single barrel. I'm seeing Parker's now. I'm seeing the very hard and attainable stuff. And it's not double, or it's not $400 now. It's okay. If it's $100 bottle, it's $250. When that used to be a $400 or $500 or $800 bottle. Now I'm seeing El Murti now for $150. Like, and let's face it, El Murti was like,
it still should be 90% off of that, but
yes, right. It was. So we're seeing, I mean, the economy's not very good. And I think, like, when I walk into a store now and I'm taking pictures to like show some of my friends here locally, the guy's like, hey, we do multiple bottles discounts, and we take cash too. Like, if you just make us, like, they're literally like, make me an offer. And I'm like, okay, I'm just taking pictures to show my buddies. Well, let them know, like, we'll take cash and we'll do, and we're right at that cuff of like, oh shit, like it could drop. And I mean, just like with real estate, when we had in 2006, it only takes a little bit, and then
you get 2007, 2008, and it shits the bed, right? And I do think that we could be on that inflection point. I don't know, honestly, what will spur the movement after this point, whether it goes up or whether it goes down. Maybe if we get, a big reduction in interest rates, and these distilleries can refinance debt, and they can kind of bring prices down, which can then spur, demand, or, supply, so that more people can have it. Or things kind of stay the same. Economy's tight. People are spending less. Kevin continues to drink at home rather than out. Then, I think that constrains the market overall, and things will continue to kind of pull close to the chest, and you'll see a drop. But we do know, definitively that these companies, the ones that are public, are hurting. The sales are down. And so how that ends up manifesting over the next year, who knows? I hope that it means there's more products on the shelf, and that maybe prices will soften a little bit. So again, it can be kind of infiltrate through kind of what I always call the normies, get into our hands, and not just the people who are fucking camping outside the liquor stores waiting for the latest truck to stop by.
Well, I was going to build off what Kevin said, right? And you build off of, but like, I think part of it is because the big guys increase capacity. So there's more supply, and then more of the quote unquote special stuff is now available. So, right, I'm excited that it's available, right? And I'm now buying that, right, at MSRP. And I'm also, because that's available now, I'm not trying as much new stuff, right? And I'm not going to the smaller distilleries or trying something new that I hadn't had before, because I'm excited that the stuff, right, that I've had before and I really enjoy, it's been hard to get, is now available.
Yeah.
And so that's part of
that's actually, I think, a great point.
What's hurting the little guys.
Because you talk about the increased capacities. We know that these Heaven Hills, the Buffalo Traces, the Jim Beams, that they work so hard to increase capacity over 21, 22, 23. Now that stuff is coming online, and you're right. Holy shit. The stuff is on the shelf. And you're right. When you go in and you're like, I want a new bottle today, and I see here's a Willet green top. I've been wanting to fucking try that for years and never seen it. You're right. This prevents the purchase of, that Horse Soldier or whatever that I don't own, or that bare knuckle, or, whatever that I don't own. I'll skip it this time. I'm going to pick this up. So even though Willet's a pretty fucking small brand.
Well, Casey, to your point,
Hey, Casey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, to your point, you mentioned Jim Beam, and we know they have a glut of material because they stopped the production in one of their factories for the entire year because they have so much excess
Right.
inventory.
Right.
So yeah,
that's why.
yeah, cool. So I saw this cool article on Jalopnik. I thought it was cool. We keep talking about how the prices of Porsche keeps going up and up and up, and for a lot of people, they can still afford it. For a lot of people, they can't afford it. It's really going into this upper echelon pricing. And so the article in Jalopnik was basically 10 of the cheapest Porsche models you can buy used. So I'm like, all right, is this going to be a fire sale? What is really this about? But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, for people who aspire to have a Porsche and maybe can't even get into 50, 60 grand, well, this may be a way for them to get into the brand. So I figure we can just talk about. Of course, yeah. So we can throw some of these out there and see. Would you guys buy one of these? Casey already bought one. Newsflash.
You want to
Yes.
You want to share your screen on that list and we walk through it, Matt?
Sure. Let me pull up the article real quick because I have it printed, but I don't have it pulled up. So let's you guys chatter amongst yourself and let me find.
So I do think, like, while these are cheap, what I think is still the deterrent from them is the maintenance cost on them, unless you're wrenching on them yourself, like some of us. But you can get a pretty inexpensive Porsche Boxster, and I tried to buy one for my daughter, and she was like, "No, I want my Honda Civic because it's cheap to fix." And I was like, "Okay, I'm giving you, like, I'll buy this for you." And she's like, "Yeah, well, you don't. I know you, Dad. You're not gonna buy me tires. You're not gonna buy me this. You're not gonna buy me that." And I'm like, "Okay, you're right. I'll buy you the car, but I'm not."
But don't you think, as an owner, you have several, don't you think that some of that is fool's gold and kind of like dealer pricing?
For you and I, it is 100%, and for George, but for the average person, like, say, for instance, a 30 or 40-year-old lady, or say guy, or say Matt. We'll use Matt for example. He's not a mechanic. Like, he takes his stuff. No, it's real. Like, either that or you're taking it to an independent shop. Okay, instead of them being $300 or $200, they're still going to be $190, and they're still going to gouge you on the pricing because it ain't like you can go to AutoZone and buy Porsche parts off the shelf.
So to Kevin's point, I actually just saw this yesterday. So the shop that I take my car to, Driver's Choice, phenomenal shop. I trust them with my life. They are really good guys, all Porsche master techs. They just own their own business, so they don't have to charge the Porsche prices. But I learned something new. I didn't realize that the 996 and 997.1 was what they call a 5-chain motor. All right. And
wait, say those models again.
Okay, the 996 and the 997.1 okay, are what's considered a 5-chain motor. Okay?
There's only the first 996.1s are 5 chains. The rest are 3-chain.
Are they? Okay.
Like
so
a 997 is definitively a 3-chain. The 5 chains, the 5 chains were a small number of vehicles ultimately.
Okay, well, so they were talking about, on the little blurb, because they try to throw information out there. And so Simon was saying, hey,
you can take the picture away from the cars, by the way.
All right. So we're
going to walk down the list, the countdown.
Yeah, Kevin.
So anyway, long story short, before you have an issue with the IMS bearing, what they see more often is the valve chain guides. The plastic breaks down and gets into the oil filter and everything else. And the reality is, to drop that motor and fix all of that, that's an $8,000 bill starting. And
what really happens is the valve chain. So here's the guide, and it's made out of plastic, and it's got these hooks for it to go. And it's just like a Harley Davidson. These guides, they go. So if you wear that chain out, eventually it's metal here, and that actually locks and hits the chain and just destroys your motors. And nobody wants to go in there to do preventative maintenance. Even on a same exact thing on Harley Davidson with the twin cam. And it was a lot of money back then for, I don't know, I think it was like $1,000 for that. And this is only a 2-cylinder Harley Davidson that you take off the cover. So I can only imagine. But, when we go over these cars, do you guys remember too, these cars have always been inexpensive. The Cayenne that, like, we drive now, I think people, now that the Porsche has gone up in value, but a couple of years ago, I say 5 years ago, people were like, yeah, I'm not 100,000 miles. I'm traded in the Cayenne because it costs too much, or I'm traded in the Panamera.
But
Those two cars.
you know, and you know, I can go into some sort of detail at some point if we want to, and show you my ownership experience with this, you know, '08 Cayenne Turbo, right? And it's now got 300 and some thousand miles on it before it's had this issue, which is not a catastrophic issue. I used it as an issue to, you know, because it's 12 degrees outside, and
But Casey, I'm going to stop you there. How many people drive their cars to 300? I don't care if it's a Chevy.
What I'm saying though is that it was cost effective to do so. The thing cost me $19,000, and I got over 200,000 miles out of it with no engine troubles, with no airbag suspension problems. Yes, I changed out the rubber bushings. Yes, the brakes had to be changed fairly often. But
yes, you actually changed the oil probably at 3,000 or 5,000 miles.
5,000 miles.
Exactly, not 10 or 15 with a dealer car. Yes, you did. And I am a firm believer, oil is cheap. Like, I don't know why people, opposed to a motor build, why don't people just do frequent oil changes? I mean, you're a big proponent. You get it analyzed. So, but people don't do that because it's not a $29 Jiffy Lube
$500
oil
charge.
change.
Yeah.
Well, so good, right? Premium oil over standard oil, also, right? And not all oil is created equal, and most.
That's correct.
I've bitched and moaned on this podcast for the 12 people out there paying attention that there, as you said, George, there's good oil and there's bad oil, and even before our interactions with, you know, Flat Six, I was reading the interwebs, understanding used oil analysis and what I should be putting in these cars because it matters. And to me, again, that drives so many miles. The oil is the heart of your or the blood, whatever you want to say, of your vehicle. And if you keep that fresh and nice, I'm sorry, it will pay you back. Those, you know, I use Driven oils. The case of 12 is like, you know, $220 or whatever. I use 8 or 9 quarts so I can eventually not have to buy a new box. But, you know, filters are $20 and I spend an hour in the garage, you know, changing the oil. It's not that big of a friggin' deal. But I'll tell you, every 5,000 mile oil change gets you to 300 and some thousand miles on your vehicle with no engine problems. Therefore, at least in my opinion, no large expenditure to keep the vehicle running.
I mean, I'm religious on my car because I don't put 5,000 miles on it in a year, not in a typical year. So I go through and I make sure I change it every freaking year. You know, I don't wait. Just I'd rather
that's
have
good
the
practice.
just have it done.
Podcast where Casey breaks it down.
I can do it.
I think you should do it. I think we should plan on a detailed podcast for that.
Well, and Casey's not the usual buyer because Casey will do stuff that, you know, well, Kevin will probably do it too. I'm not, dude, I'm fat and I'm 50 years old. I'm not wrenching on my car. You know, I mean, not that I can't do it, but
I think the example can be put out there, as George is saying, to show that even if you don't do it, if you're putting 10,000 miles on your car a year, so that's 2 oil changes. That's $500 in maintenance. How many miles or how many years you would get out of a vehicle doing 5,000 mile oil changes and brake pads is shit. At that interval, you're doing them once every 10 years. I mean, fuck. So I think people are so scared of the monthly cost of these vehicles, and I get it, but your monthly cost is more in insurance than it's going to be in maintenance.
Yeah, no doubt.
If properly cared for.
Yep. So, all right. So let's run through these real quick.
That was a bit of a tangent.
No, not at all, man. That's what it's an open forum, man. So let's see here, because I know, you know, we just railed on this car the other day. Would anyone buy a Porsche Macan? Would anyone buy a new Porsche Macan? I guess, you know, Who was it? Was it James? Someone was saying that they were just total pieces of shit. Or
No,
was it
the
Casey?
base-
You had one?
The base model is certainly a piece of shit.
Everything's relative, right? So we gotta
Yes.
start there.
Yeah. But
Well-
we're Porsche people, so I think that you can take all this with a grain of salt, as you're saying, George. But I do think that give me a GTS or a turbo, and lower this and put a rooftop box on it, like we saw at Kevin. Where did we see that? Where were we? It was that like blue one with it was the blue.
Oh, I know where it was. It was at the Amelia at that
Amelia. You're right.
The brewery we went to. Yeah.
Yes, you're exactly right. Thank you.
Yeah.
I thought that looked great.
Mhm.
The turbo GTS are going to get a lot of the nice comfort options, the better, the leathers, the comfort access, the air suspension, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it becomes probably a much more viable car. But I think the base model, the entry level stuff here, I do think you need to be cautioned because it does feel to me, owning 5 of these fuckers currently, it feels cheap inside.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing, though. Playing devil's advocate, yes, you own 5, but your Cayennes that were older were really nice spec'd. All right, if you're 22,
Yeah, they're
23
top of the
years old,
line.
right? So if you're a 22 or 23-year-old person coming out of like a Hyundai Elantra, all right, a base Cayman is going to feel like a damn luxury vehicle.
That's funny you say that because the other day on Smoking Tire, they were actually talking about the Elantra N versus like an entry-level Mercedes-Benz or an Audi and the touch points. How would they feel different if you got the highest version of the Elantra versus the entry-level? And there's probably not a lot of difference there. And so
Not
if
the
that's
high low, no, yeah.
Yeah, so if that's your price point, you're right. Maybe you step up to this and it feels very similar.
Yeah,
and
'cause,
I
I mean-
applaud you because I would do the same thing.
Yeah, and Elantra N, to your point, Elantra N is pushing 40 grand. It's 38 grand. So if you have a base Elantra, or Toyota Camry at 25 grand, and now you have the ability to step into, even if it's a higher mile, base Macan, it's still going to seem like a luxury vehicle compared to what you had before.
Agreed.
So, all right, so that's Macan. Cayenne, we all know Casey loves
Just to comment
Cayenne.
on the Con. I know it's
Yeah.
the first one, and we're like, come on, we got 10 of these.
No, it's fine. George, open forum, dude. We got all night long.
A lot of people really like how they handle, right? So some people like, right? So I've never driven one, right? But I wanted to highlight that. My problem is the width, interior width, right? They're actually not, if you look at just like overall length and overall width, they're not that much smaller than the Cayenne. You go to the interior and it's significant.
Yeah.
Right. Because I get in my seating position and I'm like this, right? With the B pillar next to me. And like, that's my problem with them. Right. I feel like they could do better with the interior room.
So here's and I actually did drive a base Macan, and I didn't hate it. I agree the 4-cylinder didn't have a ton of power, but
it sounds awful.
Well,
it
sounds like a 4-cylinder,
right?
It sounds like a 4-cylinder, right? But the interior didn't seem any bigger to me than a GTI. Yet, to your point, the vehicle is substantially bigger than a GTI. So I'm like, why? I mean, I understand there's extra sound deadening in the doors and things of that nature, but I mean, it's quite a bit bigger, and the hatch was about the same size as a GTI. I mean, it really wasn't that much bigger than a GTI. And I'm like, I've said it before. I'll stand by it. I will die on this hill. If you need an all-around, do everything car, the GTI is the car to get. It will do.
I was
everything.
actually going to bring up that comparison and ask you guys, right? Brand new GTI, 35 grand. I actually have a buddy who bought one today. Brand new, right? GTI.
Yep.
And so, right, I think it's super cool. But okay, what Macan could you buy? What's kind of the best Macan that you could buy?
You could get a couple-year-old Macan turbo for 40 grand.
Yeah, but let's
60,000
miles. Okay, those are two different. I can sit in the back of a Macan. I can't sit. I had a GTI, and it's very squished. The headroom in the back, and I'm only like, I'll say I'm 5'9", but let's face it, I'm probably 5'8". It's pretty damn low. So
That new dip, I think you're 5'9" again.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, there you
8.5.
He gained an inch.
So that's two different. Really, I don't think that's fair to judge those two cars.
They're not in the same class. But I'm just saying, right? If you're an enthusiast and you're thinking a utility daily driver, they could both be on your shopping list. They're not the same class of car, right? But I'm just saying, as an enthusiast looking for a daily driver utility, one car, they could both be on that list.
Yeah, so you're looking at an old Macan or a brand new with a warranty.
That's the difference, right? So you
could get CPO.
You could.
Not for $35,000 though.
Yes, you can. Absolutely, you can.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
okay.
Macans are their bread and butter, so you probably can. So
yeah, they made a lot of them.
Yeah, they did make a lot of them, and they continue to make a lot of them.
All right. Next, because we could get stuck on this, I got to bring up several other things, but let's.
Porsche Cayenne. I mean, I think Casey's got the perfect case point why a used Cayenne is a good decision.
I think this is a bad picture to put up, or not. Breaking down the different models. 957 that I've got versus the 958. I think those are two completely different vehicles. The 957 being much rougher off-roader style. It's louder inside. The seats are not as, to me, they're not as comfortable. Ashley's diesel, the 958, the 18 ways in them are incredibly comfortable. That is a much softer vehicle. But to the main point, if you just say Porsche Cayenne, I think they're a hell of a car. I think it's a hell of a deal. You can put miles on them if you take care of them. I think that they're quiet for interstate driving. They're quick enough if you're bebopping around town, and they can tow a house. So to me, it's a wonderful, wonderful vehicle.
Well, it's the vehicle that keeps on giving. And what I mean by that is that you can buy it, daily it for however long you want to daily it for. Then when it is not your daily any longer, as long as it is still in good running condition, you think you can mess around with it, make it overlanding or whatever, and continue to enjoy it in a different aspect. So it can have, multiple different life cycles, even under your own ownership. Yep. So
I agree 100%.
And they made a lot of them, right? And the same chassis, right? You had the Touareg, right? So
correct.
I owned a 2008 Touareg, a 2011, and then I have my 15 Cayenne diesel, right? So I've kind of gone through this chassis, and I have a lot of experience there too. And I think it's very, underrated and overlooked. Even though like the people that own them absolutely love them, right?
Yep.
Like myself and Casey, but so many people for some reason overlook them I don't know why, right? Maybe it's because they're afraid of saying the Porsche maintenance, right, or service, and they just leave it at that. I don't know why, but
could be.
Anyway.
I think there's some, witchcraft in that the 957s. There was some bore scoring issues that they had. I would say that in my observational analysis, that is way overblown. I would still do a spark plug scope on any one that I was potentially going to buy, but that's easy. That's take a $50 camera to visit one or have a PPI done. But the chassis do not rust. They're all aluminum. The front subframe is steel. Again, mine, we do salt here in Virginia. And mine has, flash surface rust that, over the years I've hit with a little scrub thing and spray it with some rust converter. It's beautiful. Underneath, you would look under that vehicle and you say, holy shit, there's no way that car has 320,000 miles on it.
They're awesome and underrated. So we can move on, right?
Kevin loves his. Kevin's got a Touareg.
Casey and I love them. And Kevin has a Touareg also.
That's right. Yep. All right. So Porsche Panamera. All right. Casey's new favorite vehicle.
So this is obviously near and dear to me as well. I think the 970, which would be up to year 13,
Yeah, 14 was a facelift.
Okay, thank you. The rear end was a little questionable. I don't think the interior translated as well to the Panamera as it did in the Cayenne. I think the 958 generation Cayenne looks and feels better than the 970 Panamera. But once you get to I should say this first. The 970 is a hell of a deal cost wise. If you can find one, a turbo, a 4S, it's going to be a hell of a performance car. Air suspension, I would always suggest that on these cars, but the air suspension is sublime. And then if you come into a 971, to me, that's the whole new generation of vehicles because it's got so much electronic and screens and oh my God, it's wild. But my goodness, luxury ride, the engine I'm finding to be quite nice. It's very, quiet. It pulls really well being twin turbo. It's a hot V6, as we talked about George's Audi. It's a great car. And I'm really looking forward to kind of the experiment of putting a lot of miles on that platform.
And
So
the styling has gotten better.
Why did you get this car, Casey? Because you just bought this car. So what was your thinking, this over another Cayenne or buying a new car that, because let's face it, this car was not cheap. What was your thought behind this whole thing other than
I never will. I'm just not a new car person. I want to feel like I'm getting a deal. I don't ever feel like a new car is a deal. So if you're talking just cost basis, I would never buy a new car. Secondly, I've always been interested in these. I think they have an interesting look. And so I kind of wanted to try it just to have a car. I like cars. I prefer to be in a car. So the question came down to, the Panamera versus a Cayenne. I was looking for, as I discussed with you all in chat, I wanted to try kind of this experiment with the long-term CPO. And so looking on PCAR Market, searching the Porsche databases, in my price range, there was virtually no Cayennes that fit kind of my criteria, meaning I wanted a turbo Cayenne. That was kind of because of the S just doesn't have the hauling torque that I want versus the turbo. So I needed it to be a turbo or GTS or, something in that vein. And in my price range, there was not one that was available. And this 4S kind of checked every other box that I had.
And I also think, too, the cheat code, as we call it, is I did not know this until you pointed it out. A CPO is unlimited miles for 2 years. I mean, so for you, Casey, I mean, you could, if you wanted to put 200,000 miles in 2 years.
Well, no, I paid for 4 years. So I paid 2 additional years. So
CPO 4 years.
Legitimately, I will put in 4 years roughly 200,000 miles on this vehicle. And so I'm really going to be testing the CPO system. And now I've read through it and I know what it says it covers. We'll see what it actually covers when the vehicle's got 175,000 miles on it. But I'm very interested in that aspect. But I think the car is more comfortable than a Cayenne going down the road. The Cayenne is more truck. I think the new ones are not very truck-like, but it is a SUV where this car is very sublime.
Yeah, it's SUV. It's not a crossover. It is a true SUV.
Yes.
Is the Cayenne a body on frame or is it a unibody? Okay. So obviously the Boxster, always obvious. I mean, we might as well lump them together, the Boxster and the Cayman. I mean, it's, hard top, soft top. But those are always obvious choices.
I think this is really tough just to lump Boxster, Cayman because of all the generations. A 986 is nothing like a 718. And so I think, having those comparable or is apples and oranges. 986, 987, you got to be worried about bore scoring. The 718.
So, but let's just talk about the 986, because that's what's
go for it.
Maybe just 987s along with that, but I think 718 is a real stretch when we talk about cheap models, even though obviously they made a lot of them. But
you're right.
I think they're also so cheap that I think your risk of dealing with the IMS or bore scoring is low because you're buying in so cheap. So I think like the value here is pretty cool. I think my biggest concern wouldn't just be there. It'd be like, okay, to get the full experience, right? It probably, just because of its age, right? You're talking about, suspension needs a refresh, right? And brakes. And then
The
like, okay,
bushings are going to need help.
right,
Yeah.
you're in another 2-3 grand on top of, right, that's $8,000 price, right? Which is $3,000 of the 8 is significant percentage, right? So you just have to consider that to get the real experience. Otherwise, you're buying something, right, that's 25 years old, right, and needs refreshed. It's not the true experience.
And to your point, that even if you were to not to buy one of these and not do a PPI, and you got an example with early bore scoring, the amount of miles that most of these people are putting on these vehicles almost makes that not worth considering. If you're putting 5,000 miles on this engine over a year, before bore scoring takes hold of you, you're going to be 10 years down the road, especially with proper oil changes.
So I was going to say, don't worry about it. Just maybe check on the oil level more often, right? Because you're probably going to be burning more oil than you would normally.
And who's a great example of that is Josh Vandergriff. He has a 987. He drove the fucking piss out of that thing since almost new. Like, he's driven the hell out of it to where it was taking a quart of oil every oil change, which is a little excessive. But the point
I actually don't think that's excessive.
I don't think so. I mean, shit, my Touareg.
A quart of oil every oil change, or excuse me, every gas fill up.
Oh, you said oil change.
I'm sorry. You're right. One quart per oil change would be no big deal.
I was like, damn, my Cayenne or my Volkswagen does that.
He's filling up a quart per gasoline tank, so that becomes a little more problematic.
Drink another, Casey.
Yes, I know. Sorry, but yeah. You could drive these things for a long time, even suffering from scoring, and still have a great experience. You just may have to top it up with soil.
For what they are, right?
Correct. And we're talking about different buyers here.
Do you think the Boxster will be like the Miata, where for like some of these, will start getting a cult following, and people, because there's already a company right now that's making body kits for them, and they look phenomenal.
Yeah, I think you're already seeing it. Yeah.
Well,
and he used to be a Miata guy, so I want to get his perception. But to me, the Boxster is better in every single way.
Absolutely, 100%. I think the Miata struggles because it's so underpowered. A Boxster S, I think the basis probably still suffers from that, but a Boxster S is going to be a wonderful experience. The transmission's great, it sounds great. We know that it drives great with probably some refreshed bushings and shocks maybe even, but it's going to be a great experience, and I think these you can get them for 10 grand. I mean, so what the fuck? You almost can't lose at that price. So
well, and we're dealing with different buyers here. The earlier when we were talking about the Panamera and the Macan and the Cayenne, those buyers are probably going to daily drive those vehicles. Whereas someone buying a used Boxster or used Cayman is looking for a weekend fun car. Yep. So the mileage going on those are not going to be at the same level as the other cars.
100%.
So you can kind of afford to get a higher mile one that's kind of ratty and I like buying ratty stuff and then over time just refresh it myself.
Especially if you're willing to use this vehicle to learn how to wrench a little bit. Simple things like doing brakes, changing spark plugs, these little things that when you go to the dealer, they cost quite a bit. But if you can have it in your garage and take your time, buy a few tools, get your hands dirty, get a few scrapes on the back of your hand as you're trying to get in that, first cylinder on the passenger side. What is that, number 4? That one's a bitch. Like, it's kind of hard, but like it's a spark plug. Like it's fine. You'll get it figured out.
Well, and then you can also practice on cosmetics. Yeah,
changing the brake pads on my I have 996 credit, right? So easy, so easy. right? These things are also designed, right, to be maintained and worked on, right, better than normal cars are.
Yep, 100%.
All right. So, of course, we talked about the Cayman.
Oh,
It goes
there
with the
you go.
Boxster. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What do you guys think about the Cayman? I like that year Cayman. Like, I
Let's
love
talk
it.
about this, right? That's the 987.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
And I've driven this in a Nest, right? I actually test drove it because I was considering buying it, and it was I mean, I didn't drive it a lot, right? But I test drove it. I'm like, wow, this thing's fun, right? And it's quick, right? You look at the power numbers; it's nothing impressive, but man, it feels quick and it feels fun, and you don't feel like you're lacking anything when you drive that car.
Yeah, I feel the same way every time I get in my wife's 718. I know that's one generation newer. It's got the 4-cylinder turbo engine, but when you can get that engine into its power band and you run it, it feels fantastic. It feels great. There's no reason. Now, I like the look of a 911 more. I like the feel of it more. I like the way it tosses more. But interior wise, 987, 718, they're very similar to the 997 interior, right? Like my wife and I can get in there and kind of feel how close we are. It's you feel very at home going from a 997. Obviously, 987 is going to be the same interior to a 718, whereas the Porsche of that generation, what is it? The 991 starts to get expansive, and we know that they grow and wider and longer.
Yeah, I mean, literally the 997 and the 987 Cayman, the interior's identical. I mean, it is exactly the same, with the exception of
the gauges.
3 gauges instead of 5. Yeah. Something near and dear to George's heart, the 996.
Yeah. So I got a soft spot, obviously. So I bought mine in May of 2013, right? So I've had a lot of experiences and smiles and maybe not some fun times, right? But ones that I've overcome, and yeah, I love this car. I actually think I actually love that it's underappreciated, and like maybe before Casey's bad experience, would be more than welcome to have people experience my car,
Right?
Because honestly, like I think it's amazing. Like it drives awesome. Now mine's modified, right? But I think my car drives great, and I think anyone who would drive it would be more than impressed with how it drives. So I think it's an underappreciated. It's starting to get some love, which I enjoy, but I think it deserves more than it's even getting today, and I think it's great.
So you have the ugly headlights.
So I have
The
the
fried
pretty
egg headlights.
Yeah, the 0.1.
I think this vehicle. I know this is wild, and I didn't really post this up because I know you all would have ridiculed me, but I legitimately considered buying a 4S, doing a rally suspension, putting a basket on top, and just having that as my daily driver. And just
I would have applauded you, dude. I would have been like, fucking bring it on.
Just trying the Safari over a long period of time and seeing how that worked. I was concerned with the engine because this engine can be kind of hit or miss, and I'm going to put so many miles on it that again it can be problematic for me. Whereas it would not be if you were just a weekend and pretty weather driver. But I think these are growing on people. I think they're getting the classic vibes. I think they're getting these people that are a little bit younger than me, even kind of like looking at them and are like, "What the fuck is that?"
Because it's inexpensive and it's still a 911. Like
Yes.
out of all these cars, it's still a 911.
Yes.
And I mean, I know so many people that this is their they're younger than me, but this is their first Porsche.
Yep.
It's the Civic of the Porsches. They're slammed. They put a Momo steering wheel on there, maybe a graphic kit. But
hello, Matt.
I mean,
mine's a 997, but yeah, I got a Momo in it, baby.
But don't they have like 330 horsepower?
So they're 396 to start out with. But then when you get to the S's and then it evolved.
Yeah. Still, that's like, I know they're not like super light, but you can definitely lighten them up. That's not shabby. That's a that's a badass car, and we all know they handle great. So,
and we know that the Porsche horsepower is different, right? Even the 997S with 355 was way quicker than 355, and the 996S's, the .2s were like 325. That's not real. Like that horsepower is much faster than it appears on paper.
Well, plus these, just like the 997, if you put a little money into them and you put on sport, headers and some sport cats, you gain 25, 30 horsepower just from that.
It up a little bit.
It's about the only mod you can do that will actually gain you horsepower. And so
throw away the mufflers and it sounds awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it does.
I mean, who cares? I mean, it's all about like the sound. I mean, I know we don't live in California, but hey, it's all about the sound and how it makes you feel. Like if it feels faster, right?
And I mean, it will feel like a rocket ship with all that.
It puts a smile on my face every time I drive it. Every time I come back from driving that car, I have a smile on my face. And I'm just, I tell Melanie, my wife, I'm just like, gosh, I love this car. Like, I fall in love with it.
You're a fucking idiot. Why do you love a car?
Time I drive that car.
There is not a big difference between the M96 and M97 engine that's in my car. And I got just the base Carrera. It's not modified, and I freaking love it.
It's great.
Is it a GT3? No, but it's fast enough for me, man. It's still fast. So
yeah, it's good.
I mean, the 0-60,
especially how you drive, anyways.
Well, the 0-60 is still 4.5 seconds. So I mean, come on,
Matt can't blow grass off his windscreen, but
yeah.
Goodness,
you fuckers! I swear to God.
I mean, I will tell you guys too that like last weekend I went to St. Pete and I drove my 85 3.2, and I was driving it, and so I have a habit of like when I drive the car because it's so loud. I do the reverse. You know how everyone downshifts, you like rev match? Well, I'm a little bit opposite. I'm like, brah, brah, brah. Like I always do that blip. And my wife looked at me because she sees me like driving. I'm like, brah, and I'm driving and she's like, and I can see her looking at me and she smiles and she's like, you love this car, don't you? I'm like, I actually love driving. I mean, we froze our ass off in Georgia. It was only like 49 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And
I would have worn a t-shirt.
Have you guys, like, I don't know how you guys have on your heaters, but one on these G bodies, it's like, it's hot as hell. And I was like, I'm like super hot. And so I turn it off. But with these old cars, like you may not know if it turns off or not. So it's always that chance that like, okay, I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to turn it on. Okay, let's see if it turns off. Because on the 85, it's electronic. And I was like, okay. And my wife's like, can we turn on the heat? I'm like, yeah. You know what? I think I need to put a blanket in here for you. And she's like, it's fucking, summer's going to be here pretty soon. I'm like, yeah, I know. But so she's like, just turn it on. So I turn it on. I was like, oh my God, it's so hot. But I had so much fun driving that car. And I always like, plus like for you listeners that don't know, my car, it's got a new wrap on it. It's got like a, I don't know, my daughter did a livery for Marlboro. And I was driving it and I'm looking in the mirror and all I see is people like just taking pictures. And I'm like, Aaron, all these people I can see in the mirrors, they're just like taking pictures of this car. And she's like, well, yeah, you're used to that because your Apple livery was the same way. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, Kevin.
Do you get that a lot too, Matt?
What's that? People photos? Oh, freaking all day, every day. Yeah, everywhere I go. And that's one of the reasons, honestly, why I kind of want to get the wrap off is because, all kidding aside, you can't be a hoonigan out there when you're wrapped like, I mean, freaking, you stand out like a sore thumb, especially my car.
The other thing I see too is people, they try and take pictures like on my 992. They're taking pictures and they're getting in my lane. And I'm like, hey, what's going on here? Like, okay, take a picture. And the other thing too is like, I always want to be like, like, but I just kind of just am that like, okay, I'm just going to drive here.
Yeah, here I don't have people taking pictures of me. I have Chargers and Challengers trying to race me on the highway.
Oh, God.
Oh, really?
It's because you have the sound of their people coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your car is loud as shit, though. That's why.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm on the highway cruising at low speeds. I'm not even like ripping on it.
Kevin, I know you don't necessarily need to redo your interior because it looks great, but that's the key. That's the key is you ought to put seat heaters in those seats.
So it actually does have seat heaters that I just need to put in. Yeah, okay. I just need to plug them. They're in there now. I just need to plug them in, but I don't know how that would tax, let's face it, they don't have the best electrical systems.
True. Yeah.
So I do have them. They just need to be plugged in, and I thought about it, but I'm not a fan of. I mean, the Volkswagen Touareg, those seats, they get hot pretty quick, and I have it in my 4Runner. I don't know. I'm just not a.
Yeah, the
we
ones in
live
my car,
Florida.
dude. You get 2 levels. On high, it'll fry an egg, and on even on low, it'll parboil an egg.
And then, how do you guys feel about I do upholstery, and I see some of the seats that have heat seat heaters in them. There you go. Do you think it breaks down the foam? Like, I don't know.
I don't think so.
I've never noticed that. In my FJ Cruiser, I put my own seat heaters in because that wasn't an option. And those things literally would burn your ass. Like they were. I got them from Amazon and like installed them with hog rings and like did the whole thing. I tell you what, they would cook you. And I didn't see any degradation of the seat above what I would expect after 300,000 miles.
Okay.
Well, I kept thinking about that because I know a lot of the G bodies, a lot of the air cooled stuff, and even like the 914s, the AC doesn't work, and then they go through and a lot of the times they pull the heater stuff out of it. So I'm like, well, if at least you had seat heaters, it would somewhat keep you warm.
Well, to that point, you all were saying like you turn them on for a short period of time, they'll cook your ass. Then you're going to turn them off. So how long is it actually applying real heat? Now, if you're my wife, she keeps them on high all the time. But I think for most normal men, especially, like the seat heaters are on for 5 or 10 minutes, and then they're off because the car is warm enough, and we're starting.
And for me, it's not my ass; it's my feet that get cold. I wore Vans, so they're canvas. So, like even in my seats, I have I don't have stock seats. I have I forgot what they're called, but anyways, Scheelmann's in there. My feet were freezing and I told my wife as we were driving, I'm like, this reminds me of driving my Volkswagen when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like you would have to heat up the back of the motor.
Yes.
Like, okay, get it hot, and then open up the thing, and then, okay. But everything else around you is like you're in a tin can.
Yep.
Like you touch the door, it's cold. You touch the front, it's cold.
Ice.
I know, George, you're laughing at me because you and I talked about like, it's not really cold here, but for us, I mean,
dude, Kevin, I was telling these guys last week, it was freaking 20 degrees here for us. I was telling these guys, for us, that's fucking freezing. I mean, we are, if it's 70, I'm wearing a hoodie. So if it's 20, dude, I was wearing like 3 jackets.
Well,
I was like,
that's cool. I went to work this morning. It was 33, and I said, I don't need a jacket today.
Exactly right. No. Exactly right. When I was going through Dayton 2 weeks ago, it was literally 9 degrees. And so 20 would have felt balmy.
But
the day I had my photo shoot in my car, it was -1 when I pulled out of my garage.
On the inverse, it'll be August, 110 degrees. I'll wear a long sleeve shirt, to work, and I don't even break a sweat. So
right.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, and see, George, you'd be absolutely drenched. But when I come up over there, I'm like balled up, because it's in. I had an employee that came from Connecticut, and I mean, he would wear shorts every single day and wear jeans and everything. Now that he's lived here, he's the same way. So it is crazy how your blood definitely evolves. Yes, for sure.
All right, so here's
do you have any other topics?
We're not done, dude. We're still here.
Okay.
I'm actually excited to talk about this car. So I don't have a lot of experiences, but
that's a cool car.
Now we get into the shark nose stuff. Yeah.
That's one that's always been on my list, right? And every time I see one,
how many did they make? They didn't make a lot of these cars.
No, they didn't make
pretty rare.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's the ultimate 944, right? Obviously, naturally aspirated, right? They have the 944 turbo.
Well, and this article is saying that you can get them like literally for less than 25 grand.
Yeah, but I think they do have some issues with them.
I don't think they do. I think they're just rare and maybe like rare parts, right? Maybe expensive parts, but I mean, they were kind of the best of the best, and then they just didn't make a lot of them.
So
no, I mean they made 12,000, which is a lot of cars, but that's between coupes, so 7,900. But they only made the club.
Is this worldwide or this North?
Yeah, this is across the world.
The article right here, I guess if we read, it says notably less than 13,968s were ever produced.
So there was only 5,000 units were shipped to North America.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty rare.
That's
pretty
Cool.
rare.
And that's 92 to 95. So 92, 93, 94. That's 4 years. I mean,
Yeah.
shit, that's only
little over
1,200
1,000.
cars.
12
That's
years.
right.
Yeah.
These are
Yeah.
special.
So-
Which, when you guys, like, do you guys remember when, like, the Grand National GNX or the Grand National or the Turbo,
I don't remember because I
Trans
wasn't
Am.
born, but I know what they are, and I think they're pretty cool.
Okay. So, or you weren't born in 1991?
I was born in '88.
Okay.
Grand National,
Okay,
or,
so-
or the sister, the Buick T.
Typhoon or Cyclone, those were all super low production cars, but they were like 1,700, 1,500, something around there. And even lower was like the Shelby CSX, which was pretty much a Omni or a I'm trying to think what the other Shadow, Dodge Shadow, 750 cars.
We have one at the farm, Kevin.
I know you and I talked about this.
Yep.
I'm surprised
I
you
restored
remember.
one.
We have a lot of conversations you don't remember.
I know. That's because you get me in your basement and you start. It's always because we're drinking, having a good time. So
100%, yeah.
I agree that this car is super cool. I didn't like this as a kid. I was strictly like 911. But as an adult, as I've learned more, as I've understood more, I think these transaxle cars are pretty fucking cool.
Yep.
And I wouldn't mind trying one out one day. This would
Yes.
not be my first choice, but I do think if I'm lucky enough to have a garage big enough one day, that adding one of these into the mix somewhere would be a blast and such a cool throwback.
You can see the
it'd be a lot of
heritage. I mean,
fun.
this front end right here is very 993. I mean,
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes.
yeah.
but
Yeah.
doesn't that also look like the front end of a Cayenne?
Yes.
It does.
It does.
Yeah.
If you
really
made
does.
it taller, kind of stretched
Yeah.
it a little bit,
Or
absolutely.
Panamera.
Yeah. Bring
Yeah.
the headlights all the way out here. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So next on the list is the 944.
Yeah, and just
So that
basically
car-
right?
Yeah, and I can tell you, like, if you go to HSR, I have a worker that does he mechanics for one of our friends, and that car gets driven by 3 drivers. And the turbo car that they drive, they beat the absolute balls off that car. The only thing I think that goes bad with them is that I have seen is the tubes for the drive shaft, maybe.
Interesting.
Or maybe, yeah, I think it's the tubes for the drive shaft or something. Yeah. They break, but they spend so much money on tires and oil because that car, they just beat the absolute balls off of that car. And we have another friend, Albert. I mean, he's been racing his. I mean, I don't know how many track days he's been going to, and I haven't really seen any issues because he's going like back after back after back. I think he won like Rookie of the Year.
Wow.
And it's not like he's making all these races, so it's definitely running. It's not like he's breaking down, getting engine rebuilds. And that guy is a driver. I mean, he's beating the balls off this car.
I too have nostalgia for this. My biological father had one of these for a period of time, and so I rode in this. The taillights to me are just iconic. It looks like a fucking like dance studio, like that you can just tap all these lights or different colors because they're all the little squares and stuff. Like I think it's very cool. I'd love to have another car with pop-up headlights. Being again, as George said, a Miata guy, pop-up headlights are very cool. It's so 80s to me, and
let's face it, this car was in every freaking like
every movie,
Rat Pack
right?
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Dude.
Pretty in Pink, like
Risky business.
Iconic.
Yes.
With the 80s, right? With that decade.
Mhm.
I'm
Absolutely.
surprised that this car hasn't really taken hold with like Matt and I's generation because it is very iconic with what we grew up on. And
Yeah.
between this one and I would say is it the 99? What's the one with the round one? 998. The round back, like Tony Montana had, and it was
Right.
also in
928.
this one,
Yeah,
928.
this one.
So this one was in what's that movie called with the Weird Science and like
Yep.
another one where Porsche was really trying to push these cars into movies.
The
I
John
love this
Hughes
car.
era.
Yes, for sure. I love the car. I love
Risky
the wheels.
business.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. I think this has a very similar feel to me. And again, the pop up headlights on this one is freaking awesome. This one's a little more rounded, and I generally like a more square kind of like angular body. But this one is actually to me more like 996, where you get the softness of the flare. But I think it's a freaking cool car. And again, I would certainly not hesitate to add one somewhere.
And they made this in a V8 too, right?
Yes.
All of them are V8s.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the late models.
What's interesting about this, right? I mean, it's well documented, right? But when they made this car for a long time, right? Like 2 decades, over 20 years. And at the beginning, right, everyone knows it was meant to replace the 911, right? Yep. So it was like designed to be lighter, right? And more of a sports car. And then over the years, when they made the decision, right, it turned and evolved into the GT. And right, you can get like some of the like the early mid 90s, right? The GTS version of these, and they're really nice. And
so the 944, nice. The 944 was a 4-cylinder, was it not?
Yeah, all of them were 4 cylinders.
Okay.
They had a turbo version, but yeah, they were all 4 cylinders. And then the 928's a V8.
They're all cool, man.
Just purred. You know, you can imagine that going down the Autobahn.
And then 924.
120.
This is the Volkswagen.
Yep.
Yes.
This is the Scirocco, man. You can see the Scirocco right in the back of it.
Scirocco's cooler than this. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
I don't know much about this one.
Yeah, my least favorite. I mean, right up there with the. I mean, sorry, Matt, but the 914.
There's only one cool version of it in 24.
Which is what version?
They made that a Club Sport version.
Okay.
Yep,
oh, really?
Did, yeah.
And it's pretty cool. But
now, which one was what? Paula had the 944, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, she did. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she had, I think, the name of the guy from Pretty in Pink on her license plate. I forgot what the guy's name is. She's probably shouting it out.
She had a 944 turbo.
Yeah, you're giving us too much credit. She's not watching this podcast.
So, all right. So that was the 10 cheapest Porsche models you can buy used.
Well, other than 924, I think the list is pretty good and accurate, and I do think you can find a stellar deal within whatever kind of lineage that you like.
I don't think that was 10 models either, but I wasn't counting.
Yeah.
And George, so when you sell your car, are you just making your harem smaller, or do you plan on replacing the car?
Kevin.
Or
so the story I tell my wife,
who's not,
well, she's not listening either. So
no, she started watching like the very first podcast I was in when you guys had me a guest, and she couldn't get past the watch check because she's like, I don't know what you guys. But I think the real answer is real estate investment. Okay. So I started getting real estate investments, and I'll use that to expand and grow my portfolio.
Good for you.
So I've heard somebody, actually, I have a friend that he has a lot of houses in St. Pete, Clearwater. And he told me he moved to actually Ohio, to Cleveland, Ohio. And he was telling me that he's buying 4 houses for the price of 1 house, here. And they're not like, crappy houses, but they're okay houses.
Yeah.
And renting them out. And he's like, as I do this, I flip it over to, I forgot what it's called, so he doesn't have to pay capital gains. But he's like, I'm getting like 4 times the amount of houses, and the rent is the same rent.
Yeah.
But I'm paying less for the house. And I was like, but it's fucking Cleveland.
Yeah.
And he's like,
that's the problem.
Yeah, but the money's still the same.
Yeah.
So I got 4 houses, and I'm still charging them $1,800 or $1,600, opposed to me charging $2,800. So, but I got 4 of them. Is Cleveland or Ohio starting to come up?
So there are areas. I don't know about Cleveland, right? I know Dayton, Columbus, and Cincinnati. I pretty much stay in central, southwest Ohio.
Okay.
Even in my recreational activities, right? I don't go to Cleveland. I also don't go to Toledo, right? To me, Toledo is like part of Michigan. But I think Cincinnati is growing a lot. Columbus is growing a lot. And then Dayton, parts of Dayton is growing a lot. But it's third to Cincinnati and Columbus. I think those areas have strong growth. And from housing market in general, right? There's some probably driven by also like industry and businesses growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Different industries, but also then the nice suburbs, right, around those industries and growth boom, based on mostly school districts, right? You kind of hunt the good school districts, and all of those is where the housing is growing like crazy. So
Okay.
yeah,
So the answer for the people is no, he's not replacing the cars. He's actually buying a house.
I am. Right now I have too many cars. I have more cars than I have garage spaces, even after I sell the RS5.
Join the club.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Good problem to have.
All right, I'm really
Frustrating.
hungry.
Well,
Casey-
on that note, I
Casey
guess
wants to
it's time to go.
All right,
We'll
guys.
just let Casey go. We'll keep talking.
No worries. All right. So for those listening, thank you very much. We are not going to be podcasting next week unless y'all want to do it, because I have a trade show I'll be at all week. But
Another one?
we'll see. What's that? Yeah,
You have another trade show?
Yeah, I'll be
Very
gone the
busy
entire week.
month. Very
I know.
busy month.
Entire week next week, Monday through Friday. And it sucks because we literally go from, I get up 4 a.m.
yeah.
and then we have dinners with customers in the evening. So it's literally going like 4 a.m. to midnight every single day, all the way through Friday. But it'll be the last one for the spring or the beginning of the year. And we
Well, the
don't
good
have any
thing
more
is
till
you don't
summer.
drink, so you don't have to worry about waking up with a hangover.
Nope, I do not. So, and plenty of Monster and I'll be good to go.
It's lucky.
Yeah. So, but head over to our Instagram or send us an email, contact@whiskeywatchwheels.com. I went through and I updated our website with a bunch of different things. I changed to put some more of the links up there and everything. So go check it out. And other than that, we'll catch y'all on the flip flop. See y'all later. Bye.
Peace.